What if I told you that Napoleon Hill left behind a money mastery technique so powerful it was almost too controversial to publish? A method he only hinted at in his most famous work, but which his closest students swore was the missing link between financial struggle and unstoppable wealth. Now, before I reveal it, let me ask you something. Why is it that two people can read the same book, attend the same seminar, even work in the same business, and yet one ends up wealthy while the other stays broke? The answer, according to Hill, has nothing to do with luck. It has everything to do with a hidden technique he called the secret money directive. I'm Walt, and in the next few minutes, I'm going to break this technique down step by step in a way you can apply immediately. But be warned, this isn't a motivational slogan or a piece of surface-level advice. It's a deep rewiring of the way your subconscious mind interacts with money. And once you understand it, you can never see wealth the same way again. Let's start with the first revelation. Hill noticed that wealthy individuals did not merely set financial goals. Instead, they transformed their goals into what he described as emotional obligations. They didn't just want the money, they believed they owed it to themselves to achieve it. Imagine the difference between hoping for an extra $10,000 and believing you're already responsible for generating it. Which do you think the subconscious mind responds to more powerfully? This is the first layer of Hill's technique. He taught that if you want to master money, you must make your desired financial outcome so specific, so clear, and so emotionally charged that it becomes non-negotiable. Not a wish, not a dream, a directive. But here's the twist. Most people stop at writing goals. Hill insisted that you must go further by combining those goals with two overlooked elements: repetition and sensory immersion. What does that mean? It means you don't just write down, "I earn $100,000. You read it, you say it, you visualize it, you feel it, and you act as though it's already happening, daily. Without exception. Think about this. When was the last time you rehearsed your financial goals with the same consistency as brushing your teeth? For most, the answer is never. And that's exactly why wealth feels like a distant dream instead of a lived reality. Now here's where it gets even more fascinating. Hill found that when students practiced this correctly, they began experiencing what scientists today call selective perception. In simple terms, their minds started filtering reality to highlight opportunities directly connected to their directive. The business idea they used to overlook suddenly stood out. The conversation they might have ignored became a breakthrough. And once this shift happens, money doesn't just feel possible, it begins to feel inevitable. But let me open another question for you. If this technique is so effective, why don't more people use it? The truth is, Hill warned about one fatal mistake that stops most people before they see results. He said, "Desire without persistence is weak." In other words, if you treat this practice casually, if you dabble, you might as well not start at all, because your subconscious won't obey half-hearted instructions. So here's the challenge. Are you willing to treat your financial goal as a directive, not a wish? Because in a moment, I'll share the second part of this rare technique, how Hill recommended anchoring your directive so deeply into your subconscious that it feels as natural as breathing. So how exactly do you anchor this directive so deeply that your subconscious can't ignore it? Hill revealed a process that blends repetition, emotion, and action into one seamless practice. He called it the daily money command. Each morning and each night, Hill would take a written statement of his financial directive, specific, measurable, and time-bound, and read it aloud with conviction. But here's what most people miss. He didn't just recite words, he infused those words with emotion, imagining what it felt like to already have the money, to already live the life that money represented. This wasn't wishful thinking, it was emotional training. And the subconscious, unable to distinguish between imagination and reality, began working tirelessly to make that picture come true. But here's the twist Hill added. After each reading, he would take one immediate action, however small, aligned with his directive. Why? Because action signals seriousness. It tells your subconscious, this isn't just talk, this is who I am. Imagine the difference between saying, I will be wealthy, and saying it while also making a call, sending an email, or setting aside real money in an investment account. That physical alignment transforms your directive from theory into reality. And this is where mastery begins. Hill insisted that when repetition, emotion, and action are combined, the results accelerate. The subconscious becomes like a magnet, pulling opportunities, ideas, and resources into alignment with your directive. Now let me ask you something. How would your financial life look if every single day for the next 6 months you practice this routine without fail? Reading your directive, charging it with emotion, and backing it with action? Hill claimed that in less than a year, most people would not recognize their lives. Their income, confidence, and opportunities would multiply so dramatically that the old version of themselves would feel like a stranger. But here's the warning he left us with. If you allow doubt to creep in, if you rehearse fear more often than faith, your subconscious obeys that as well. This is why Hill insisted on surrounding yourself with positive influences, symbols of wealth, and people who reinforce your vision rather than sabotage it. Your environment feeds your subconscious. Choose poorly, and it will quietly erase the work you've done. Let's tie this together. Napoleon Hill's ultimate money mastery technique can be broken down into 3 steps. First, transform your financial goal into a directive, clear, specific, and emotionally charged. Second, reinforce it daily through repetition, visualization, and emotion, treating it like a command, not a wish. Third, anchor it with consistent action, however small, so that your words and behaviors are in harmony. These 3 steps form the technique Hill considered too powerful for casual readers. It is not a quick fix. It is not for dabblers. But for those willing to commit, it rewires the deepest part of your mind so thoroughly that wealth stops being something you chase and becomes something you naturally attract. So the question is, are you ready to command your subconscious with the same authority wealthy individuals use every day? Because once you do, money mastery is no longer a mystery. It becomes a habit. And it starts the very moment you decide to give your mind its directive.